one of the worst things you can do to change your life or to improve your life is to try to change people, things, situation outside of you. This is what most people do, but this doesn't work. If you're trying to improve your life, if you're trying to change your life, if you're trying to create something new in your life, but you're not seeing the result, or if you feel like you're plateauing or stagnating in your life, this may be the reason why. Because think about this for a second. What if life was simply your mirror? What if life was simply reflecting something that already exists in you? And what if the more that you're fighting that mirror, the more that you're fighting people and situations, the more that you resist what is, the more you make it so and the more you perpetuate? Because think about this. Everything that you experience in your life right now, you experience it twice. The first time you experience it is because you notice it, you observe it, you watch it, you see it, you hear it outside of you. You see people, you watch these videos, so you experience me outside. But then you have an internal representation, an internal meaning, right? How you think, how you feel about that situation, that experience, and so on. And this is the two experiences that you have with everything. Once outside of you and the second in your own inner world. And so we can say that you understand the world, you understand what you observe, what you interact with, based on the preconceived idea that you have about the world, about things, about objects, right? Because right now in your mind, you have a set of what we could call filters. Filters, subconscious beliefs, subconscious programs, subconscious knowledge, subconscious assumption, understanding that you picked up along the way, that were taught, that you experienced, that you use in order to filter that experience of your reality. So for example, you see this and you're like, this is a whiteboard, right? Okay, cool, right? Then you see this is the color black, this is the color blue, this is the color red. But what if another person had a different meaning or different understanding subconsciously about this? Meaning one of those filters is different, and for them, that color is blue and that color is black. And what if it goes even further? What if that black color is actually bad? And what if that red color here is good but hard to get? Can you see how this would change the way you interact, respond, feel about that reality and what you're creating? Now you may be like, okay, hang on a second, this is a whiteboard, this is a color, what are you talking about, right? But replace that color with money, replace that color with the job you're trying to get, replace that color with the woman or the man you're trying to attract in your life, replace that color with any desired goal that you have, right? If you have a program in your mind that tells you, okay, that goal is hard to get. Does that make sense? It's good, but it's hard to get. But this one, it's bad, but it's easy to get. Do you see how this will actually affect the way you go about this? That this not only will affect the thoughts that you have, the feelings that you have, but it will affect the choices that you make, the decisions, the actions that you have, right? All those things, however you show up, will ultimately affect what you create and manifest in your life, right? And those things become also part of your outer world. And now you can see why life is simply a mirror, because if money means something to you subconsciously, it doesn't matter the money that is outside of you. Your personal experience of the money or the goal or the promotion of the man or the woman or whatever it is that you want in your world or whatever it is that you want to change or get rid of is unique to you, because somebody else with a different set of belief, with a different mindset, with a different attitude is having a very different experience, making very different choices and decisions and actions and creating, manifesting very different things, even though it is the same money, the same life, the same economy, the same country, the same neighborhood, right? It doesn't really matter what is external. What really matters, the real cause of your experiences, the real cause of your interaction, the real cause of what you end up doing, creating, manifesting in your life is in you. And the biggest thing is the set of filters, belief, assumptions, that conditioning that you've created, that you've picked up, that you've been taught ever since you were born all the way to today, right? Now, let me give you a story to illustrate how this could work. I had a client, mid-30s, right? Struggling with a lot of anxiety, struggling with a lot of frustration, struggling because he wasn't getting what he wanted. He wanted a promotion, he wanted a raise, he wanted to be happy and so on, but everything in his world, his boss, his colleague, his girlfriend was nagging, everything wasn't working despite working hard, despite trying to be the good guy, despite, putting other people first, despite trying to be perfect and do a good job and do all these things, he was passed on that promotion and the raise that he desperately wanted. And he just couldn't hack it. Why is it that despite doing all these things, things are not working and changing for me? Yeah. So when we started working together, very fast it became apparent his low self-esteem, that belief, that relationship that he had with himself, and especially his own brutal inner critic. He was constantly belittling himself, doubting himself, trying to be perfect, and have that super high expectation on who he should be and how he should work and how he should show up and so on, which was creating immense pressure to be perfect and do the right thing and avoid confrontation and be the good guy and get the approval of others in order to feel worthy and so on. And it was madness, right? But you can see how that inner state of mind, conditioned for years and decades in his life, right, was actually being reflected by his girlfriend who was nagging, by his clients, by his colleagues, by his boss, that despite all his hard work and so on, just gave the promotion to somebody else. So you could say you could fight on and you could do everything right here, but life will eventually show you that no matter what you do, you're just not good enough. Why? Because one of his core beliefs and his thoughts and his feeling and his anxiety and all those things that he did in order to feel worthy was simply echoing loudly the inner shame and the unworthiness that he had in him. That's who he was. And so when we started changing that and changing those conversation and those belief and emotion that he had deep at the subconscious level, he started showing up differently. He started talking to himself differently, right? A healthier inner dialogue. That's one of the most important things that he had to do. But also he started making different choice, decision, and action, creating boundaries, right? Saying no, asking for things, ditching out that old nagging toxic girlfriend, making changes in life and who he was. And so after a while, long story short, everything started to change for him. And this time he actually went and he asked for a raise before time, because he started to understand the value and what he was doing in his work and what he was actually bringing in that company. So all of this to say what? It's pointless to try to change the world, to work harder, to do all those things if who you are, how you think, how you show up, and the belief that you have to experience your reality doesn't align with the life that you want to create. So in this particular case, he was a people pleaser. He was too nice because that was strategy, coping mechanism for him to receive external validation, love, and so on from the external world, from external people. But was that working? No, because no matter how much he did, no matter how much he put people first, life was only echoing the real truth that was going on in his mind, in his subconscious, is that I'm not good enough as I am. So when I get the promotion, when the clients sign up, when I make the money, when all of this is right at that level, then I feel good about myself. But you can see that that was just overcompensating in order to try to escape what was really going on in him. And he was doing that by trying to get things outside of him to go a certain way. But that doesn't work, because life reflects back to you the content of your thought, especially those deep core subconscious belief and feeling that you have. Because I told you earlier, you experience life twice, once outside of you and once inside of you, right? So the way he was seeing money and the way he was seeing people and the way he was seeing the company and the way he was seeing his girlfriend and so on was based on those programs, those beliefs, those thoughts, those feelings, and how he was interacting and showing up and what he was creating and interacting was ultimately based on this program. So you could say you could wait for things to change to get a promotion, the money, whatever, or you could start to go at the cause and realize that the thought of unworthiness and vulnerability and that inner critic no longer belong in a life, in a reality that I want to have. Because the moment I stop being so damn tough on myself and belittling myself and putting myself down and, basically thinking that I'm not good enough, and I start to affirm myself and believe in myself and create a healthy, positive dialogue, what started to happen is that life, being a mirror, started showing this to him, right? So people become kinder, people being nicer, he started getting compliments, he started getting little things that reinforce that pattern. So the message is this: instead of trying to fight the world, change the world, get everything and everyone to be a certain way so that you can finally get what you want and feel the way that you want, if you're not getting the result right now, if you're stagnating, if you're at that ceiling, somewhere in you, in your thoughts, in your feeling, in those subconscious beliefs that you have, that you're projecting in a world that you're using to interact with the world, this is where the change has to be. And when you make that change, you will start seeing those results. But first you have to become that person regardless of what is happening or what is not happening in your life now. Otherwise, you will always be a victim waiting for someone, something, sometime for you to finally to change, for you to finally be happy, for you to finally get to the next level. When what you have to do is get your mind, your identity to that next level first, meaning align with the life that you're trying to create and manifest. If you have any questions, write them down in the comment. If you need help to change your subconscious belief, if you don't know how to do it, you can book a one-on-one session with me down in the description, and together we can get it done. Have a blessed day.